Story time about how my fat-phobic stepmom bullies me every day. I had a really happy childhood with both my parents. I'm an only child, but I had a lot of friends growing up. As a child, I remember my parents being really in love and happy. My mom's dream was to have another child, but my dad didn't want to. They ended up separating and decided to date other people. My mom met her now second husband, who is an amazing guy. He is like my second father. He takes care of me and loves my mom a lot. By the way, I just turned 19. My dad dated several women and was even engaged twice. After breaking up with those two women, he ended up meeting my now stepmom, who is the meanest person I have ever met. And the worst part is that in front of my dad, she treats me really well and pretends to be a saint. But when he's not around, she's like the devil. During COVID, I ended up gaining about 40 pounds. By the way, I was in really good shape before I gained the weight. I would go to the gym consistently, I kickboxed, and I even went to dance classes. That's when my fat-phobic stepmom started bullying me. When I gained my first 10 pounds, she started calling me tubby. And I never defended myself. That's when my stepmom told me that I wasn't pretty enough to be a fat girl, and that guys were not into fat girls. I had gained an extra 40 pounds at this point. After that, she would just constantly remind me that I wasn't pretty enough and that I needed to lose weight in order to get a boyfriend. Like I said in part 1, I never defended myself. On some weekends, I would sleep over my dad's house and hang out with him. My dad went to pick up some food for us. I was in my bedroom changing when my stepmom comes in, and she just waltzes in and sits on my bed, and she proceeds to watch me change. That's when she told me that I was shaped like an apple and that my figure wasn't pretty enough to be fat. Then she leaves my room and comes back with the scale. Yep, that's right. She wanted me to actually weigh myself, and I ended up doing it. I came in at 175, and I was horrified. She looks at me and tells me that I was ruining my life. This woman brought a scale into my room so that I could weigh myself. And of course, I jumped on it. I was horrified to see that I had gained 40 pounds. The tears were welling up in my eyes, and she starts laughing, saying, "Wow, I didn't think you were going to be that heavy." She finally left my room and I went downstairs. That's when she started putting all of the junk food into one cabinet, and she put a lock on it. Then she says, "We have to control you somehow," with a smile on her face. When my dad got home, I told him everything. At first, he didn't believe me. Then he justified her behavior by telling me that she probably only said those things because she cares. Right. I decided to have a glow up. I lost all the weight and I'm skinnier than her now. I'm the happiest I've ever been with my body and I feel amazing. But her and my dad have been fighting a lot. He resents her for talking to me that way, but she just keeps being mean. I want to confront her, but I don't know what to say. Can you guys give me some ideas? Bye.
Am I wrong for forcing my daughter to go to a party? I, 44 female, have 3 girls who I'll call May 21, Jessica 19, and Diana 16. Of course I'm biased, but all 3 of them are genuinely beautiful and charming. However, Diana isn't as social as her 2 big sisters. It's the classical teenage sitcom differences. Oh god, this is going south already. May and Jessica were social butterflies in high school. They had lots of friends and were very well known. Diana, on the other hand, has had the same 5-person group of friends since middle school and spends most of their time playing video games, particularly League of Legends and Smash Bros. What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say something's wrong with people who play League of Legends? In general, they are more on the geek side. Like I said, a very cliche difference. Diana has had bad luck, and thanks to lockdown, she hasn't had the full high school experience her sisters had. But she doesn't seem as affected as one would think. On one hand, it makes sense. Despite the worst part of the lockdown last year, she pretty much played with her friends online quite often, so I'm guessing she didn't feel as isolated as her sisters during this time, but still, it concerns me a little. Teenage years are a lot about being social and adventurous, and even without this global situation, she chooses to stay indoors. Anyway, the problem is that Diana's high school is planning a Halloween dance this month since last year it was cancelled. I imagine she'd be excited for her first dance, but she just isn't, and yesterday she told us that the day of the dance, Friday the 29th, she and her friends plan to participate in a local League of Legends tournament. This made me angry. She literally has all the time in the world for video games, but a limited amount of high school events, and she's just ditching them for irrelevant video game tournaments. I usually try to be supportive of her hobbies, but this crossed the line, and I told her she couldn't go to the tournament, and if she didn't go to the dance, then she won't go out that day nor play video games for the weekend. Like I said, my girl is as beautiful as her sisters, and I'm sure she wouldn't have a difficult time making friends. She doesn't have anything to be insecure about. When May and Jessica had this dance, they start prepping in September, trying new styles, finding the best costumes, all of that. I would drive them around to help them in any way possible to prepare. I wouldn't call it a tradition, but it's a moment that's also important for me. Oh, I see why you all butthurt about this. After the argument, my husband told me I was being an a-hole, and if she didn't want to go, that was on her. But what if she regrets not going when she's older? She can always play video games, but time won't stop, and she won't be in high school much longer. Still, my husband is rarely this upfront, so I wanted to know, am I wrong here? You guys in the comments, attack! This woman deserves to be attacked. I am promoting bullying in this section. Actually, no, TikTok, no, I'm not promoting bullying, because in this video we'll get, taken down. But attack this lady. What?
Oh, I have been waiting for the green light from my friend to be allowed to make this video. And yesterday she gave it to me, which thank God, because I've been stewing on this issue. Okay, there's many things in this world that I do not tolerate, but I think the number one is bullying, especially with kids. But okay, this isn't about kids. This is about fucking adults. But here's the backstory. My friend's friend, who I have never met, okay, was sleeping with a guy who she found out was getting married. For the sake of this story, we're gonna call this girl Jen. I make a TikTok saying, oh, a friend of a friend was fucking with a married guy. Would you tell the fiance or not? That's what the TikTok said. It was vague as fuck. It didn't include names, dates, nothing. This girl, Jen, finds the TikTok and starts harassing our mutual friend. That TikTok is so inappropriate. It's infringing on my privacy, blah, blah, blah. So my friend then messages me being like, hey, can you take down that TikTok of Jen because she's really upset about it? I'm like, who's Jen? Because again, I know so little about this girl and her story that I didn't even know her name. Before I can even deal, this chick sends me the most deranged DM I have ever. Essentially saying, woman to woman, could you delete this video because you're profiting off my trauma, and I think you should understand that this is very traumatic for me and I haven't been able to sleep since this TikTok was made. He sends me a TikTok DM and a fucking Instagram DM, and they're both like 7 paragraphs long. Now I'm looking at them going, is this chick unhinged? A, you have to be so narcissistic to think that anybody could possibly watch that video and think of you because it was so incredibly vague. And B, I have not dealt with anything this dramatic in the last like 10 years. Meanwhile, my friend is getting fucking harassed by this chick and her mutual friend saying, can you tell your friend to take down the video? Like, Jen can't sleep, she can't eat. So my friend messages me and she goes, can you just take down that video? And I'm kind of like, I don't want to. You know why? Because I don't think narcissistic fucking psychotic bully losers should get their way, but I will. And here's why. If this chick happens to be at your birthday because for some reason you're deciding to remain friends with this loser, I'll have to see her and that'll be a problem for all of us. So sure, I'll move it to friends only. My friend sends Jen donuts just to smooth everything over, and that's that. Or so we think. So this is a few months ago, and since then, Jen and my friend never been the same. Jen's always been kind of like snippy towards her. She sabotaged our other friend's relationship, but whatever, that's besides the point. Anyway, every year my friend and Jen and their mutual friends have a Christmas party. And my friend messaged Jen the other day to say, hey, are we still doing our Christmas party? And Jen goes, yeah, if we can find a date that works. That fucking night, Jen and her friends have a Christmas party and post it all over socials so that my friend can see that she wasn't invited. Lies to her on Instagram and then just has the party that night without her. You might be wondering, how old is this bitch? 12? 15? 17? Nope. This psycho is 30 something. So are all her friends. Anyway, sorry, Jen kept this TikTok as vague as possible. Hope no one traces it back to you. Fucking 30-year-old bully.
Y'all, okay, this is the one time that I ever really got caught doing a little freaky leak. Okay, so I remember in high school, I had this boyfriend, and I would go over to his house a lot because his mother did not give a fuck about none of them kids. So she would leave a lot, so I'll be over at his house. And as teenagers do, or some, we was doing stuff, okay? And I remember the way his room was set up, it was like parallel to the garage, right? Where the garage door was. So when you open the garage door, you can go right into his room if you don't have the door closed. Normally he would have the door closed, but this particular time he didn't. We just forgot to close the door. So normally we had like maybe 2 hours before his mom came home. So we got into it. And as soon as we get done, and we're just like laying there, you know what I mean? The garage door opened, and all I see is her eyes looking at me, and I'm looking at her, and then she walks away because she didn't register what was going on, and I couldn't either. And then she like stops. You can hear her stop. She takes 2 steps back. She looks, and now I'm really looking at her. Now she's really looking at me, and I'm really looking at her, and she's like, ah! And I was like, oh my God, she's mad. So we both get up, we're like, we're putting on our clothes, trying to put on our clothes. It was so embarrassing. And then she was like, when y'all done, get your asses in here now. So that's exactly what we did. When we got done, we got our asses out there right then and there. So then, she's looking at me real mad this time now. She's like, she's asking me, she's like, does your mother know you're here? And I'm like, just like you, my mother may or may not be a little bit neglectful. So no, this bitch do not know that I am here. So then she proceeds to be like, give me your phone. Give me your phone. Here, quickly, give me your phone. And I'm looking at her like, okay, now you're doing too much, girl. I'm not about to give you my phone for you to call my mom. She's like, give me your phone. I'm going to call your mom. I'm going to call your mom. Give me your phone. And I looked at her and I was like, no. I was like, no, I'm not giving you my phone. And so she's like, ah! And then she walks back to the garage door, opens that hole, gets back in her car, she drives. She goes. She's gone. And so then I look at my boyfriend, I'm like, where did your mom go? I'm like thinking she's about to come back with a gun or something. And my boyfriend's like, he was so scared. He's like, I have no clue where she went. I don't know. Maybe he was like, maybe you should leave. He's like, I'll call you an Uber. I was like, all right. Yeah, he got in real trouble then. After that, I met her one time after that, like a couple of years later. To my surprise, she remembered what happened. Did she mention it? No, and I will commend her for not ever mentioning that again. So yeah, don't get caught doing stuff like that.
The other day at work literally felt like a fever dream. If you guys don't know, I'm a server. And it was Sunday, and we're like in the middle of brunch, and it was kind of busy or whatever. And I had this table, and they had their entrees coming up or whatever. What is on my counter? And they had their entrees coming up or whatever. And so I was going to run them. I was running them. And I had 6 entrees on the tray. And I'm walking past this one table, and there's like a Christmas tree by it. And I had to like scooch. I don't know who in the fuck put these Christmas trees in the fucking restaurant like this, but they're blocking like the walkway path. So I had to like try to shimmy between this Christmas tree and this table to try to get to the other table. And so I'm passing it, and I'm with the fucking 6 entrees. I'm like, you know, and I try to scooch past this table, and all of a sudden I see the Christmas tree just falling over. And there's a fucking customer at the table right there. I'm like, oh shit. What do I do? Drop the entrees or let the Christmas tree hit the bitch? So anyways, obviously I have to let the fucking Christmas tree hit the bitch. And all of a sudden I hear, oh no! And boom. And I'm like, oh, well, man, what do you want me to do? Drop the fucking, why don't we drop 6 entrees to save you from a Christmas tree? Like, obviously, the fucking spirit of St. Nicholas has something out for you, you Grinch. And so, put that in there. And so anyway, she's like, oh, I've never been hit by a Christmas tree before. She was all, you know, happy about it. And I